What is up, everybody? Well, welcome to a Sunday edition of the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel, and alongside with me is Big Blue. Let me switch sides here with you. How you doing, Blue?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I want to say thank you to everybody that wished me well. We got to lay my aunt to rest yesterday. So it was hot though, man. It was 110,
Oh man,
110. But and then right when I was leaving the cemetery, I had the best of luck out there. My AC blew in the van, so
oh dude, that
it
sucks.
was as hard as a sardine can in there, man.
Nah, I can tell, man. I mean, I know. I wouldn't. I was out yesterday out and about, and dude, it is a scorcher, dude.
Yeah.
No end in sight. That's for sure. So, well, our condolences again, Big Blue, to yourself and to your family, my man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank
No problem, no problem. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss um, a part of the PCA that like been bugging me since you know, since the PCA came out, and I'll just pull it up. All right. So, and it's referencing the Nevada Street area. All right. So let's talk about it. It says here investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. Review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. On November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, which had a unique identifier of not having the front license plate, right, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. And then at approximately 2:53 a.m., the white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra. So another white sedan. And if they're saying this, I would indicate it would be, I would believe that they're seeing the vehicle from the front and it not having a front license plate.
you. Yeah.
Was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman towards SR 270, which connects Pullman to Moscow, right? And this was the footage that was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman as being a 2014 to 16 Elantra. So, in my opinion, I think that this footage was located or found probably after December 19th. I think that that's when they got Bryan Kohberger's name as a possible uh, link through the genetic tree, right, on December 19th. And so I think they decided to go look at some more cameras in the Pullman, Washington area, and they found this vehicle, and they were able to identify this vehicle as a 2014 to 16 Elantra. That's just my speculation. But all right, so let's let's look at this area, Big Blue. It says that the suspect vehicle 1 was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. So this is Nevada Street, Big Blue. It goes where this red arrow is pointing up, followed by this yellow, area going down. That's Nevada. The intersecting highway is Stadium Way.
Okay.
Okay, so there's been some speculation as to where more or less this vehicle was going. Was it going north on Nevada Street, south of Stadium Way, or did it turn off of Stadium Way and head north onto Nevada Street towards the red arrow? Right. So let's go back to the affidavit. So to me, this is traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. To me, that tells me it's this red arrow. Because it's a Stadium Way going north on Nevada Street from Stadium Way. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right. So, according to the probable cause affidavit, he was somewhere in this area for approximately 9 to 10 minutes. Let's go back and see it again. So, yeah, 9 minutes. At 2:44, seen driving there. At approximately 2:53, seen driving southeast on Nevada Street. So, he's somewhere in this area for 9 minutes. Now, assuming that this is the alleged, Bryan Kohberger, these are WSU security cameras, right? That captured him, is what we're supposed to do, right? Where do you think he was? What do you think he was doing?
I first assumed maybe he was picking up some supplies from this classroom or something he left behind there.
Right. So, go ahead. What?
I said, but I'm not 100% sure what he was doing there. It did take him a few minutes though, so he must have pulled over, maybe to get his thoughts through or pick something up.
I think it's pick something up. Now, where do you think he would go? And so I started looking at some of these areas, right? And I came across the Office of Academic Engagement. So this is off the WSU website. And this is referencing there it is. I went forward one. So it says this is the Office of the Academic Engagement. And they had a video here that I'm going to play.
Good morning. I would like to take this moment to thank the work that all of our wonderful student employees have been doing for the past few years with the Office of Academic Engagement.
So this Office of the Academic Engagement is referencing student employees.
Okay.
Wasn't Kohberger considered a student employee? He was a teacher's assistant getting a salary.
I don't know if he would be the same as being a.
I mean, that's what they described. He described it as when he got pulled over in Indiana that he was a student employee.
Maybe. I can't remember what they call them here in San Antonio. They call them work studies. I'm not sure but I'm pretty sure they all go to the same place.
So what I found out of this place was these were the places for student employees. I wonder if Kohberger would have had keys for something here. Now, I put all this together, or we can continue to watch this, but all it is that it's referencing student employees. But on the affidavit, let me go find it real quick. Referencing, hold on one sec. Is it 11? So on the probable cause affidavit, when it talks about Bryan Kohberger's experience and what he wrote, give me a second. I'm gonna find this. Jesus, I had it earlier.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it had a highlighted area, but
right. No, not that part. Let me find it real quick. All right, here it is. So one of the things that they learned was that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed that Kohberger wrote an essay that he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote in this essay that he had an interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. So right here, he's basically saying that his expertise is technological data and, how to collect and analyze technological data in a law enforcement, perspective. Does that make sense, Blue?
Yeah.
So that would kind of make you believe, right, that if Kohberger was well aware of how law enforcement was going to collect and analyze technological data, that he would have known not to use his personal cellular device or laptops, right? What do you think?
he'll be able to access
No,
some of the.
If you're aware how law enforcement is going to investigate you, you're not going to fall into those traps, right? You're not going to fall into using your own stuff, your own laptop, your own computer. I don't think he'd also fall into using his own internet. So I think a lot of the planning for this situation came out of this area. And I think, and this is just my speculation, that when he came over here and drove up here, I think he came around this way, came to his office where he may have had like a burner laptop or cellular device that he was using to do the planning of this crime. Now, if we look at the Rex Humerman case, he had a burner phone that was, at the end of the day, once they knew it was him, it was traced back to him. But he'd been using that burner phone to, call and harass, victims' families and things of that nature. Wouldn't you think that, Kohberger would be, possibly aware that a burner phone could be, or burner, going and buying a cheap tablet from Walmart? Wasn't there a Walmart receipt picked up from his apartment? So maybe there's a laptop on that receipt that's not accounted for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to be that smart to register it under your name and do all the stuff. I mean, he's got to be smart in that. I would say you should just go to a pawn shop and get one because they're already pre-registered to the last owner, and you can just use it as long as it's unlocked. And most of the time, they're unlocked.
Right, but
I don't know how smart this guy is.
Right, but I mean, if you go to Walmart and you can just buy one of those, $50 tablets, and he goes and uses the free Wi-Fi that's for, the entire campus, right? So it doesn't get traced back to him. That's what I'm saying. Like that sounds something like something I think somebody with the education and the experience that Kohberger has would do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, for me, I think that, for him to come out here, there has to be a purpose. And I think that the purpose was that he kept things separate, right? Like if you go and buy like this tablet, right? And, you're going to use it to plan crime on it, and you don't want it to ever come back to you. Would you ever take that tablet to your home where you have Wi-Fi where it could, try to connect?
I mean,
no, you
if
wouldn't.
you're smart, you wouldn't. No.
Right. You wouldn't take that tablet to your house. So you'd have to leave that tablet and do the planning of this crime somewhere else. Because if he took that tablet at any point to his house and it connected to his Wi-Fi, and that tablet was ever found or whatever the case, it would connect back to him. And or, those searches would come back to his IP address or whatever the case. I don't know. I'm not a tech guru, but I would think that you would never take that tablet back to your house. So it'd have to be somewhere else.
Yeah, I would like to see where his like office was compared to this area.
Oh, these are
See
the offices at the Office of the Academic of Engagement. The offices for the
the TAs.
yeah, no, for the school employees are right here. And they also, school employees have access, student employees, I'm sorry, not school employees. Student employees have access to this building
Yeah.
here. And so my thinking is, if he came back over here, right, and the planning would have been for a goal, right? And the goal would have been to have committed the crime. Correct? So if that was the night that he was going to commit the crime, there was no need for the planning stuff anymore. Now, he may have, wanted to keep it or whatever the case may be. But I think that, if he was smart and the goal was to get away with this crime, he would have destroyed it and or buried it or dug it. And so my thoughts are, he came back here to this office, picked up his tools for planning this crime, and took it with him to the victim's house, committed the crime, and then there's another time frame that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna go check it out. I'll let you guys know. So
it's got the little square that has good music. They have a lot of
yeah. That's what I'm thinking about too.
They have a little food park.
And so if and the other part that don't make sense is that he's seen leaving at a high rate of speed on Valencia Drive at 420, right? And then the probable cause affidavit states that he is seen over here by Blaine, Idaho, off of this Highway 95 at 448. Now, according to GPS, to get from the victim's residence to Blaine, Idaho, is a 10-minute drive. I would assume that it'd be even a shorter drive if you were sticking to the highways, going just to the highway that runs parallel to Blaine. Right? Yeah. So it's probably less than 10 minutes. So where did he go from 420 to 448, which is 28 minutes, which let's just say would have taken 10? What are your thoughts on that, Big Blue?
I think maybe he went drive around like maybe the police station, see if they got called.
You're gonna drive around the police station with.
Well, I mean, if he got startled by Dylan, he went somewhere to see.
I don't think you drive to the police station.
Well, not towards it, but like, we have evidence that he drove before through the back road of it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he drove around there again, but it's not in the affidavit. I don't know. His phone was off.
Right.
Well, it was back on by then. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure they can track it better than I can.
No, I think he took some weird route, man. I think there's cameras at this intersection, right? So if he would have exited, this is where they believe he exited, which is Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive, right? And had he gone just towards the left or westbound, he would have gone straight to Pullman and would have been there within 10 minutes. All right. And if he would have gone right or east towards the highway, there are cameras here. And in my opinion, if police had seen this white Elantra in the area and they pulled these cameras, they would have known early on in the investigation that, the white Elantra left town south out of Moscow. But that wasn't indicated. In fact, the probable cause affidavit alludes that they believe that he traveled west towards Pullman because that's the fastest route.
Yeah.
So I think maybe perhaps he did, and he drove some weird back road route around these intersection lights. But there's 18 minutes there, and I don't think he's taking anything to his house, like I mentioned before. So I think somewhere along this route he's on, he left everything: a weapon, clothes, shoes, everything behind somewhere out here. He may have gone back the next day to go pick it up and move it to a different secure spot.
I mean, I would see if there's any creeks around there he can drive through a back road, then he can dump it off a creek. But I think maybe he just drove around dumping it in commercials buildings normally have like cameras, so I don't think he's that dumb. But if he was gonna discard it, I think maybe he had a site somewhere here and he had something like a place to stash his stuff to get rid of it. But also, we don't know what he did because they didn't catch him till months later, so he probably never even ditched anything. Maybe he just went to like decompress and he was just driving around to like clear his mind because what he had just did. I think that might be more of a prominent thing, and then he ditched the stuff the next day.
Well, I don't think he'd want to take if he went to go pick up some computer stuff and those things to plan that he never wanted to connect back to his house, and he left those things, at his office. I think he's leaving them somewhere. Now, I wonder if there is a campground or something south of Moscow where he can go and shower and or change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because my other theory is it depends how cold. How cold was it again that night?
It was like 28 degrees, my man.
Have you ever tried digging at that temperature?
Nah, he must have gone earlier and dug something, had it pre-made.
Yeah, because I even in Texas when it gets that cold, I remember I was working on this house, and I used to do electrical. We were running the underground wiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to run the underground wiring at this certain neighborhood, they wanted like 6 inches of gravel, 8 inches of sand, and then they wanted the gravel again. That way it could have good drainage, and then they wanted the pipe, and then they wanted it covered by gravel. So the day before, we were filling up this is like maybe 400 feet of sand that we were carrying up and down the hill, and then they trying to level and stuff to get it to pass permits. And the night before it was good. It was maybe in the mid 60s because it was getting cold that night. But the next day I went, and it was probably around 25, 20 degrees. It was cold, but we had to finish it to pass permits. I literally got the bucket off the back of the truck that I was using the day before, and I went and I hit the sand, and the bucket broke into pieces because it was so damn hard. Then I got the shovel, and I couldn't even get the damn shovel in the ground. So I had to use a pickaxe to break it up a little bit until the bobcat, we can get the keys to the bobcat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, digging at that degree, man, and the ground being that solid, he probably, like you said, probably pre-did it or he dumped it somewhere else. But he also had a lot of time to discard it with the amount of days. He probably placed it somewhere and he says, all right, they haven't caught me yet. I'm going to go hide it better now. And then that's probably where the police should look at and see where his phone went in the next coming days afterwards.
Right. I mean, when it comes to Kohberger, when it comes to this crime in particular, you got to know who you're kind of dealing with, right? And to kind of trace the steps backwards, in my opinion, he's a very intelligent person that knows the procedures, law enforcement procedure and method of investigation. So you have to take that into consideration, right? You take that into consideration when you look at building, I guess, his profile, I guess is what it would be. And you have to think about, all right, this guy is he's thinking about this as chess, not checkers, right? And I think there's examples of that. The night that he chose, it was a quiet night, right? Why was it quiet? It was quiet because there was a task force out, doing some things on underage drinking. Now, it was also quiet because there was a party the night before and a lot of people were partied out. But I strongly suspect that even if people had partied or whatever and had gone home to their areas, had there not been cops in the area, they probably would have congregated longer. But even the residents and the neighbors from the area said that it was a quiet night. Is it possible that Kohberger was aware of that? That there was going to be a task force that night, and that's the reason why he chose that night? Because if there's cops out there working a task force to stop underage drinking, and essentially that's going to stop the parties, essentially because of loud noise complaints and things of that nature. And it comes to find out that the first time that we're aware of that he's seen on camera is behind the police department. Right now, the time that he leaves Pullman and the time that he would have gotten to the victim's residence, right? If he would have left at 2:57 and taken off to 1122 King Road, he would have gotten there around 3:10, 3:12.
Yeah.
Those officers were out with those kids at the Banfield till 3:16. Now that Banfield area can be seen from a pretty good distance, right? And so my speculation is that Kohberger was driving that direction, knew it was going to be a quiet night because of those things, and saw the officers still out there, drove around, ended up going behind the police department, waited till he saw the undercover officers come back in. All right, because that's a task force. That's not a typical shift, right? So the Moscow shift probably has, 6 to 6, right?
Yeah.
And 12 out and 12 off, right? And so, the task force is specific time, and that's usually like overtime for, officers that want a grant money and to get paid a little bit extra. They'll go do these overtime grants, and they'll go out there and conduct these underage drinking type of task force. But they don't go on for a full shift. It's usually like 3-4 hours, and it's targeted during a specific time. Now, Kohberger being in criminal justice, being the PhD student, a TA, is it possible that he was aware that this was going on? There was supposedly somebody that was on camera that was like an intern or a ride-along. Was that ride-along an intern from Pullman, from WSU, or does Kohberger know that person and was aware that task force was going on?
Yeah, I mean, he might have been if he was in the same classroom and been like, "Hey, I'm doing this," because you probably hear him talk about it if he was in class.
Right.
But
No, 100%.
you never know. I mean, it's something that they would have to back check themselves to see if they can tie anybody to that classroom or what he did to see what info he had.
Right.
But it's like this: do they want to waste all the time and effort when his DNA's on the scene?
Well, you gotta investigate everything, my man. You gotta look for the weapon. The sheath, that's just one small part, man. If you got the weapon, he can find it where he dug it up or wherever that is. That's golden. Thank you, Kylie, for your $2.99 super chat. And J Turkey says, you don't have to be smart to commit a crime like this, but you got to be smart to not get caught. Yeah, we're not referencing that somebody had to be smart to get caught or not get caught. It's referencing Bryan Kohberger was intelligent. He was a PhD student in criminology, only one of two students from his professor in DeSalle to be recommended for the PhD program. And you don't get there without being somewhat intelligent, and he had high understanding of law enforcement and their techniques and investigative procedures. So, so with all that being said, if he planned this out right, I think he would have probably had a pre-planned hole somewhere. Thank you, Kylie, for becoming a member as well. We appreciate you. We had a members only live. What we typically do with our members only lives, that sounds weird to say, on our member onlys is if we end up talking about the case, we end up releasing the replay afterwards, right? And the perk is for the members to be able to get that content in lifetime. All right. Now, if it's content not having to do with any cases and it's just us doing a couple of giveaways or, us, like the last one we did before where I was playing the guitar and we're, having games with our members as far as, some persons. What we do is I'd play a song and whoever guessed the song first won a beanie or a sticker or something. Yeah. I encourage you, if you're not a member, to check out our membership. And Big Blues OnlyFans.
Man, I might need one with my van breaking down like every other week. So
only members. Don't get as confused. That's hilarious. So look at this real quick. So I'm just, like I said, I just want to know. I wonder if there's something out there. And I think he may have gone back. I mean, that's what the probable cause affidavit says. So he was out there in that area the next day.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, Big Blue?
On the case in general?
About this situation right here in Nevada Street. What do you think he was doing? Like you know what I think? I think he went to go pick up his stuff. What do you think he was doing? I know there's some people that say that he's picking up, another person. I don't specifically believe that because I think on his return back, he doesn't stop anywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying?
I think there's a theory that I would say is if his office is off that street and he's able to access the suits and the booties and gloves and he had everything bagged.
That's true.
He could go pick it up. But the other thing that throws me off is like, if you're gonna steal from your work, why steal the night before you're gonna in the night that you're gonna commit a crime, and they can catch you on camera picking up stuff. So that's the hard part that in my theoretical head, why I wouldn't do it that night.
That's a good question, my man. That's a very good question. Why do it that night? Well, if it's equipment, my assumption is that he doesn't want to have it at his house. And so, why not dispose of it at another time? It's a good question. That really is.
Well, that's why I'm like, what else is in that street? Is there a ATM?
There is an ATM.
Maybe he went to go get money, but why is he getting money that late at night? If the bar's closed at 2, the only thing is open after that, it's a McDonald's or something. Right?
There's your ATM.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe this was one of the pictures that got him traveling this direction. Now it says that he travels back down Nevada Street towards 270, which I got a question for you, Blue. Do you think that when he was returning, coming down Southeast Nevada and got to Stadium Way, did he continue south, or do you think he turned towards the highway? Let me mark this for you.
I would say if he's heading to Pullman, I would say towards the highway, right? Because the highway goes to Pullman. I mean, goes to. I can't even think the one.
I looked it up, and you can actually get to this highway that leads you to Moscow through this back road here. If you travel down Nevada and then head down this street here in front of Rogers Orton Playfield, Papa Rogers Orton Playfield. Just kidding. Thank you, Kathy Chapin, for your $10 super sticker. We appreciate you. All right, so
What about that's
and then if you you head all the way down and then you turn off here, you come around these like fourplexes, and then you exit right here, and you can get out there. And
I don't know.
while I was out there, check out what I saw. Dun dun dun.
Why Elantra?
2014 to 2016 Elantra without a sunroof. Nah, I don't think this vehicle has anything to do with it. Don't go and bother these people, y'all. Leave these people alone.
The drunk turkey
Right.
said that this car was part of the case. Oh, there you go. There's another
Right.
Pam situation again.
So the other thing that I saw out of this book, Blue, and I wanted to get your opinion on. Well, these records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. But in the spring, we know that he had applied as well. You know what that tells me, Big Blue? He didn't get the job in the spring.
Yeah.
He's applying in the fall. He didn't get it for the spring. It's a mandatory thing, I believe, to be in that PhD program, to have been an intern at the Pullman or one of the police departments. It didn't have to necessarily be Pullman. Could have been Moscow.
Yeah.
From my understanding. But, he had applied in the spring, and then he applied again in the fall. That tells me that if there is the capability of applying for Moscow, that he didn't get it there either, because I'm not necessarily sure how many, semesters or hours of internship that you need, but if it's only one, and if he would have gotten the Moscow one, then he wouldn't be applying for Pullman in the fall either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So regardless of that, he was denied by these guys in the spring. Now, the essay he wrote... Oh, go ahead, Big Blue.
So don't the schools have... Some schools, I know the UTSA has their own little police department, so I said maybe he got on with the school, and then he was applying again in the spring, so he didn't get on anywhere.
Yeah, because it says here, this is on Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. At 1:43, it says, Chief Jenkins, it was a great pleasure to meet with you today and share my thoughts and excitement regarding the research assistantship for public safety. I look forward to hearing from you. Best regards, Bryan. Right, so he didn't get it. I think this may have been like the start, in my opinion, my speculation. That's why I have the disclaimer down at the bottom.
There's a disclaimer. No. Yeah.
You have questions, read the disclaimer. In my opinion, I think this is kind of where, around this time, Kohberger was doing those surveys, right? He was conducting those surveys, talking with offenders, finding out their emotions, why and who they chose, their crimes, their thoughts and emotions throughout the commission of the crime, things of that nature. That was going on during this time that he was applying for and applying and getting possibly turned down
Yeah.
for internship.
I think his downfall probably was when he was starting to lose his TA position. And
I don't know, man. They said that he bought the knife in June, didn't they? Like according to what was it, like Dateline or something like that?
Maybe he thought he was gonna go wolf hunting.
I don't know about that, man. I think he knew what he was gonna do. And that purchase was after April.
Maybe he just thought they were gonna have bigger apples in Washington, so he needed a bigger knife to cut them. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what the defense is gonna start saying.
Oh well, then the prosecution is going to ask, well, where is this knife that you used for your apples?
Yeah,
because your apples are about to get cut off here in court, sir. Because I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, and that's possible, right? Because they're going to ask, where's the knife? What happened to it? Right now, he's not fighting, to our knowledge, and I want to get a lawyer on the show. If any of you guys know a defense attorney, send them our way. I have some questions for an attorney. One of them, I want to know, like, can certain things already start being thrown out? Like, for instance, the phone pings. Like, I don't know those answers, and I'm really, really curious about that. What was that comment that you just brought up? I didn't see it.
Oh, it said the survey was really dumb. Who would risk answering? I mean, there's YouTube shows dedicated to people talking about their crimes and how they got away with it. So
QFD just confessed to murder, like, I don't know how many times to Tupac. So. It happens.
Yeah.
But these were the survey was directed towards convicted felons who have already are probably either serving their time or have served their time. So there's no risk in anything in it. Let the lawyer know. Yeah, I need to get in contact with the guy because there's certain questions I have for him. Like, for instance, and we're actually going to do a show on Wednesday, and the show on Wednesday is going to be called the hurdles that the prosecution has. And one of the hurdles, in my opinion, is the phone pings. Not necessarily about the validity of them. I think they're very accurate. It's about whether or not that the prosecution is going to be able to use that evidence in trial. When you look at the search warrants, and we've pulled them all up, and we'll be going through those on Wednesday, and amongst other things, that we feel that the prosecution has hurdles in this case. But that's one of them. And I want to know, I'd like to know from a lawyer is, if the defense was going to try to have that, evidence excluded, right, based on a lack of probable cause at the time, because the probable cause to get the warrant is right here. It says, based on information provided on the WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for the Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Wrote in the essay is that he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by an open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits can influence a decision-making when committing a crime. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine the cellular devices close to the proximity of King Road residents between 3 and 5 a.m. of November 13th. After determining Kohberger was associated both with the white Elantra and the phone, investigators reviewed the search warrant returns, and the returns did not show the phone was using cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residents. Based on my training and experience and conversation with law enforcement officers specialized in the field, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at different locations when committing a crime or turn their cellular telephone off prior to going location to commit the crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid law enforcement. So basically what they're saying here is that they believe that his phone was off because it wasn't connected to the tower. It could also be that he wasn't in the area. right? At that time, they didn't know, right? They didn't know. December 23rd, they just gotten his name from the genetic genealogy, right? And just because his phone wasn't there, and based on all this information, which basically tells me is that it was his education, his Reddit survey, and his acknowledgement of how to collect and analyze technological data are reasons to violate his rights to his location, his pins. And I think that that's going to be a big problem. I personally think that that would be a big problem. I don't think that's enough. You go and look at the Ron Logan search warrant on his residence. They talk about why they suspect Ron Logan. He created a fake alibi. He wasn't at home during this time. The alibi that he created or asked for was before the discovery of the bodies, which would lead you to believe that that person, had prior knowledge of the crime. All those things were in that search warrant. I looked up the search warrant for Bryan Kohberger's pins, and I can't find anything that says any of those things. This is the only thing that says why they got his pings or his locations. This is not even pings, it's just locations. And I think that that's going to be a problem. But I want to know, like, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen the defense draw up motions to, exclude this evidence. But maybe perhaps that comes after all this appeal stuff with the, the grand jury and the preliminary hearing stuff. What do you think, Big Blue?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna have to wait till the court, starts and we start hearing the more evidence and them breaking down of what they suspected or what they found. And the defense team, I want to hear their side, because it's got to be good if his alibi was just I drive around at night, but my phone turned off during the time of the murders, and then it came back up, afterwards. And and then I purchased the same style knife months ago, but all of a sudden it's missing.
I mean, what do you think his response is going to be when they ask him, all right, you go for drives around late at night. Why was your phone off during that specific time?
Yeah.
What logical explanation would you come up with if you were his defense team? Like, if you were looking for something that was believable.
I mean, it's hard to believe that he said that. Like if he says that his battery died, because I mean, I know he's fairly new to the area. He only been there for a few months. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been in the big old city I live in, but it's a small place. I still use a GPS to get in certain places because I don't know the whole place around me. I would say, he probably still use a GPS to get back home if he took the wrong turn.
So you think that's what it's going to be? He's going to tell them, he's like, you know what? I turned my phone off because I like to drive around with my, just with my phone off, no distraction, even though it's almost 3 a.m. I don't think you're going to get some spam phone calls.
I think his excuse is going to be like, I keep getting those 3 o'clock in the morning calls, it's asking to renew my car insurance or something like that.
Well, they could be, if his phone is still registered to Pennsylvania, maybe perhaps he's getting those, what time is it in Pennsylvania when it's 3 o'clock in Idaho? It's I think it's Pacific Standard Time to Eastern Time. That's a pretty big difference. It's like, what, a 4-hour difference?
I'll say 4 hours.
Right. And so maybe 3 hours. I don't know my time zones, man. I don't know, but either way, maybe it's early enough in Pennsylvania that he is getting those spam calls. And so he doesn't want to get bothered by those spam calls, right? Yeah. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. So he turns his phone off and he gets lost. And so he has to turn it on and get GPS to go back home. But if that's the case, right, let's just say that's his excuse. If I was the prosecution, I would have said then, all righty, sir, then why didn't you do a U-turn anywhere when your phone turned back on and you used the GPS and you were only 10 minutes south of Moscow? Turn around and go to Pullman. If you found yourself, if you were going to find your way back home, if you had no idea where you're at.
Yeah.
I don't think GPS is going to tell you to go on this long ass route.
No, it tries to
You get what I'm saying?
give you the shortest routes, even when it recalculates. It is going to say he was owl watching late at night, too. He was looking out for owls.
Thank you, B. David, for your $1 super chat. We appreciate you. I mean, I get it, but like I'm saying, all right, so his phone dies, turns back on. It took 2 hours to charge. All right.
Yeah. Took a while.
It's crazy. I don't know, man. I don't see a logical explanation there that he can come up with as to why it's off during that specific time.
I don't know. I don't get it either. The only other thing that I would say is he probably did silence it because of the messengers and all but I don't know. And but the thing is, they can go back since he's been. If he says that's his excuse, I'm gonna say, okay, well, how many times a month do you do this, or how many times? Remember the last time he did it? To see if it's a pattern. What if he can't bring any patterns up? Oh, I left my phone at home every single time I did the other drives.
What if the defense says the pattern is the 12 times that he's in the area? I mean,
they're not at night though. They're not on at night, are they?
No, some of them are, but the thing is, the probable cause affidavit says that he was parked, or not parked, but that he was in the area of the residence. Unless Kohberger is going to come out and say that is his white car. There's a difference. Right now, he's saying he's out driving around. He's not saying that is his white car in front of the King Road residence. In fact, he's saying that he was not at the King Road residence. That is not his white car. All right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. 2.7 times in 5 months. 12 times in, you're saying. 2 point, that's the average per month. Well, that's if he started going, the first month that he was there. Now, I know that they stopped him and put him over in August. So August, September, October, November. So that's about a 4-month period. Let's just say that that's around the time he started driving there. Right. And so, 12 times, that's 3 times a month. Does that sound like enough that you would, think that somebody is a, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that's enough to consider stalking?
I would say, yeah.
3 times a month?
I don't know what else. I mean, that's still more than once if he knew where they live. But he could just go to that area to go eat at different restaurants or something. Or maybe he was going to study with a classmate, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I don't know, man. I thought that was I thought it was you also have what Ian Haar said, Truth and Transparency, stating that he's seen a white Elantra back there on a number of occasions. It was, he thought it was because, his ex-girlfriend drove a white Elantra, and so that's why he knew what it was. If it was enough times that he saw it, maybe he went more often and just didn't have his phone on every time. Maybe he does put his phone on airplane mode.
Maybe the other thing is maybe he had a smartwatch, and he would receive his messages on there. I don't know how far you have to be to your phone to get your messages on your smartwatch where it's still can track you some, but doesn't track you all the time. I don't know. Do you still get messages if you leave your phone at home and go to the grocery store? I don't know how far those watches work. But I know you use one for running.
Yeah. HOD says, did Enan say that at the start, though? I believe he did. There was one of the law and crime interviews he did. He's mentioned a wide launcher, but I don't know if that was before or after Kohberger's arrest. Or before or after, I'm sorry. That was before Kohberger's arrest, but if that was before or after, police came out asking for a wide Elantra. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, just hope nothing crazy happens while you're out there driving. I mean, there's more to it than just him, his phone and that being the situation. It's that it's the car without the front license plate. It's the DNA on the sheath. Each one of those can individually, you can kind of come up with an excuse for, right? But it's the whole picture that looks so ridiculous when you put them all together, right? When you try to say, oh yeah, he sold the knife, or the knife got stolen by the guy who just so happened to committed this crime, who just so happens to drive the same vehicle, just so happens to not have a front license plate, just so happened to know that Kohberger was going to be out and about, just so happened to know that Kohberger was going to not have his phone on during that specific time, just so that they could frame him. There's a lot of just so happens. You know what I'm saying?
And then the knife sheath just so happened you got his DNA on it.
Right. So to me, it's a little far-fetched. It's a little far-fetched. I think the police got their guy. Like I said, though, there's a difference between, thinking a person did it and thinking that, beyond reasonable doubt. Do I see that there's any reasonable doubt here? Not necessarily, but I do see hurdles that the prosecution is going to have to jump over. And one being, like we mentioned, that warrant for the cell phone pings. I think that's going to be a big issue. And B-Dad says, I see a ton of cars in Texas without a front license plate. I agree. But I mean, like I said, it's not just the front license plate thing. It'd be one thing if it'd be one thing if they found Kohberger's car without a front license plate. They go talk to him, and his phone wasn't off during the time of the crime, and he has an alibi, or he wasn't. His DNA wasn't underneath or in the button sheath of the knife sheath, right? Or all those things combined. Plus, he was also just, we would have to believe that his DNA got under, in the knife sheath of another person's knife who happens to drive the same style vehicle without a front license plate, who happened to commit this crime while Kohberger was out late at night driving. That's a lot of coincidences. It's a lot of coincidences for me.
Yeah.
And for me, the more you have to build a story for it to be real, the less likely it is.
Told you he was out watching, driving at night. Okay, that's gonna be his job.
And then like the staircase. It's a staircase. But glad I'm on to you, my man. I know what you're saying.
There's always something somebody's gonna say that they weren't there. But I think they have quite a bit of evidence against him. But he is innocent until proven guilty. I mean, I just saw a murder case where this guy just won a settlement. I can't remember what state it was, but he was put away for a murder, and it wasn't him. And he just won $1 million from the state for being falsely accused.
Yeah. I mean, those things happen. But, I mean, how often do those happen?
Not too often.
Right.
Too often. Like, 1,000 people get convicted a day, and I don't hear that case happening every day. I hear it happening.
I think it's
happened a few times.
No system is perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen and there isn't corruptness or any of those things. In fact, it was I got because I'm on true crime. I guess I watch a lot of true crime on my YouTube. I saw this. I think it was like a 48 hours or Dateline special on my YouTube. I was recommended. It was called the Cannibal Cop. Have you heard that story?
No.
This is dude who got convicted. He was a New York police officer, and long story short, he had this fetish, and his fetish was bondage and cannibalism. And he started going on the dark web. Oh, thank you, Canadian True Crime. I'm gonna check out that email real quick before we get off. I know I'd seen that earlier. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Good evening, Dan. Have you ever had a good look at the front door? The wreath holder on the door. Apparently, there are closed hook door holders that have security cameras installed. Let me see. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it could be, but I don't know. I mean, that looks kind of big right there. That one doesn't. Maybe they have different types or models. It could be. Good catch, though. That is a good catch.
Yeah, I mean they put cameras in everything nowadays.
Yeah. No, they do.
On the side of the road and pee next to a Tesla because they get a camera view of peeing on a Tesla. I wouldn't say it.
But for front doors, typically you don't want them like. It's a deterrent to have them like a camera, right? That's why people put up those like ADT signs and all this other stuff because criminals will see that and say, oh, that place is alarmed. If they see this big ass camera on the front door, they're like, oh man, we don't. That's not the right house to hit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not necessarily sure if a hidden camera would be used for the front door, because it kind of defeats somewhat of the purpose of the camera itself being used, not just for unless some weird creepy person put it up there. Wasn't there somebody known for breaking into a house and wiring security cameras of a house that they broke into? And it's been speculated that one of those IDs might have been one of those persons, Bryan Kohberger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. Manager goes, unless they were suspicious of something, maybe perhaps if they were suspicious of something and they wanted to catch somebody in the act of doing something, they may have put that there. But
porch pirates and porch pirates always hit people during the holidays. Maybe somebody stole a lady's wreath before.
Yeah, well, you don't want them to steal it again. I mean, granted, you're going to want to catch them, yes, but wouldn't you prefer to just put a big old deterrent there by a big ass camera, and then not have somebody steal your crap?
The funny part is like, I've had my car broken into like 3 times here in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, I'm driving an older piece of junk van, and it looks like a piece of junk. So last time, like, I literally had all my fishing rods, my bags. I had probably like over $1,000 worth of fishing stuff in my van, and they broke into the doctor's truck next to me, who had nothing in his van and his car. I was like, dang, that sucks. Because I mean, you had a brand new F-250. That's why they hit you, but they would hit my car. They would have hit the mud loads. I had power tools and all my stuff in my van.
Dude, the same thing happened to my father-in-law, but they hit his truck. They ended up taking his gun though.
Yeah, that's why they hit. That's why they hit the F-250s, because a lot of people who drive F-250s, Team Ranch, and all those, they'll hit them because they like to hide their gun under the seats. Yeah, and they know that.
Yeah, they end up hitting his gun, and they end up hitting some stuff. But he had like crap ton of expensive ass tools. They took a bag, and it didn't seem like, according to my father-in-law, I don't think they were aware of where the gun was at, and they took basically the bag that it was in.
Yeah.
And so maybe they opened it, maybe they did see it. I don't know, but yeah, man, fucking thieves, dude. Can't stand them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was one time I had a Tundra, and I had put padlocks on it because they had broken into my toolbox one time, and I was all right, this is gonna deter them. A padlock on one side and then the regular key lock on the other side, they won't be able to open it up. Yeah, those guys pried it open like a tuna can the next time they got to it, man. I had to get a new damn toolbox. There was nothing in it the second time, though. That was what made me more mad. I had to spend like $400 trying to get a new damn toolbox because there was nothing in it.
AT took his TV and was supposed to have given Don Daniels paperwork, and she never got it. That's true. That's true. That's true. So, well, I think that's going to be it for us tonight. We're going to be on tomorrow night with Melissa Jade and Shay from the Melissa Jade's YouTube channel. We're going to be talking Bryan Kohberger. And then, unless something else comes out, you know, let me go check the Idaho website. Nothing usually comes out on Sundays, but you never know.
Yeah. You drop stuff every once in a while.
Nah, no. Unless something comes out from here to Wednesday, the next two shows will be on Monday, which will be us and Melissa Jade and Shay. And then we're going to be on Wednesday talking about the hurdles of the prosecution. You don't want to miss it. Hit that like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell. If you're not already a member, please consider doing so. And we also have a commercial. Do you have any last words, Big Blue?
No, I just want to say, everybody, thank you for y'all's condolences. Y'all take care out there. Be careful with that heat. And take care.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, y'all take care. Be careful out there. And if you guys have any tips or have any ideas, thoughts, or theories, send them our way at our email. I'll leave you guys. Don't forget we have a raffle going on. I'll leave you with the details of that raffle. Peace out, y'all.
This is our little Frenchie Nelson. Nelson was the runt of his litter, and unfortunately, he is diagnosed with IVDD, which resulted in him losing the ability to move his rear legs. Now, we were left with a couple of options, one being put Nelson down, or two, go through a costly surgery, which wasn't guaranteed to work. We gave Nelson that chance, and we went through the surgery, and fortunately, today he can walk, and he's not 100%, but he's getting there. Through rehab and continual rehab, we think he may. Those bills are extensive and continuous. In efforts to lower that financial strain, we've decided to do a raffle. This raffle is going to be of a 4x3 handmade quilt. This quilt was actually made by my mother-in-law, and so high quality. I think you'll love it. It's a rescue themed quilt. So how do you enter? There is a $5 entry to get into the raffle. All entries will be through Cash App, $ Drunk Turkey Show to enter. In the description, make sure you put your shipping address and your name. If you want to put in multiple, you can do so. You can send in, for instance, 25 and also put in the description 5 entries. The raffle will be on August 28th. The winner will be chosen at random by a wheel selector. Don't need to be present on the live. Good luck and thank you.